Cooper Flagg's special third quarter powers the Mavericks to their first win of the season over the Toronto Raptors. We'll break it all down coming up next on the DLLS Mavs postgame show. Welcome to the DLLS Mavs post-game show presented by Michelob Ultra and Game Time. With Michelob Ultra, cheer on your team with Michelob Ultra at 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's a superior smooth taste worth playing for. Michelob Ultra, official beer sponsor of the NBA, and with Game Time. Take the guesswork out of buying your NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code DLLS for $20 off your first purchase. Remember, terms apply, and get create an account and redeem code DLLS for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today. The Mavericks get it done at home for their first win of the season, 139-129 over the Toronto Raptors to move to 1-2 on the season and 1-2 at the AAC. I'm your man, Kevin Gray, alongside our All-City National NBA reporter, National Timler, Tim Cato, joining us live in studio. Our DLLS Mavs beat writer, Harrod Jr. will be joining us a little bit later on in the show, along with our national NBA insider, Marc Stein. But Tim Cato, a special third quarter for Cooper Flagg and the Dallas Mavericks. The Mavericks with 7 guys in double figures, including a game-high 25 points from Anthony Davis, who goes an efficient 11-14 from the field with his 25 points and 10 rebounds for his third straight double-double to start off the year. How about D'Angelo Russell? 24 points, a plus 26 in the 29 minutes that he played in Cooper Flagg with his first 20-point game of his career with 22 points in this game as the Mavericks, Tim, win a high-scoring affair over Toronto to get their first win of the season.
Good to be back. Hello to everybody in the chat. I see a few people saying hello, so hello right back to you. Bobby is, I actually don't know where Bobby is, but I'm sure he's somewhere safe and sound.
That's right.
Probably Pokemon going, something to that effect. You mentioned a lot of things. You mentioned the main storylines of the game. Start with Cooper, man.
Let's start with Cooper.
Cooper is the place to start. You know, Dallas gets their first win, but Cooper gets his first statement game, and that's really what it felt like. Cooper was good in the first 2 games. I am not saying otherwise. Let's not pretend like, you know, there was ups and downs, but this was Cooper Flagg. There was moments, there was stretches where it looked like he was everywhere. Like he was defending, he was handling, he was running the break, he was making the passes, he was dunking. That third quarter was awesome. And in the third quarter, I thought, you know, Dallas scored 39 points. 26 of the 39 were points in the paint. They had 11 fast break points. So it's interesting. I watched Toronto in their first game against Atlanta. They blew out Atlanta. And a big reason why they did that is Toronto was able to get out and run. And I thought it was very flipped, very turned around and flipped over, where there was moments where Dallas was running on Toronto out of nothing, out of just like one guy back in the play. Cooper's big dunk, which was amazing. And you don't need to put qualifiers on it. That's not what I'm trying to do. What I'm trying to do is like, this is what allowed them to extend this big lead. It was just nothing. You know, like Cooper Flagg just ran straight to the rim, got the pass, boomed it, which is what you want him to do.
Yeah.
He looked really awesome.
Put a head top on Sandro Mamakhalishvili, Mark Followell. That sparked what was
nicely done.
A big run.
I was practicing that one. Yeah, you can vouch for me. I was practicing that one over the show. I'm still not confident enough to. I'm going to need to go home and say it like 30 more times before I feel like I'm going to break it out on national TV here.
Yeah, I'm a gamer. I had to practice it a couple times, and we let it fly, and it worked, so it worked out. But it worked out well for Cooper Flagg. We'll get to the turning point coming up in our next segment, which was a massive third quarter for the Dallas Mavericks that used a 13-0 run to really turn and flip this game around. What was a competitive game throughout the first 2.5 quarters, where there were 25 lead changes total in this game. The Mavericks led by as many as 16, Raptors led by as many as 7. One of my favorite numbers, though, from tonight, Tim, as we go through a litany of them here in our first segment, the number 32. No, I'm not talking about Cooper Flagg and his number. 32 was a number of assists on the 50 made field goals that the Mavericks had tonight. They were sharing the basketball.
Pretty good ratio.
Yeah, that's pretty good. When you're sharing it in transition, sharing it in the half court, the Mavericks have talked about getting the ball moving, the ball touching the paint, and a number of guys able to make plays. They shared the ball, and it worked out very efficiently for a team that wound up shooting what was 58.8% from the field tonight on 50 of 85 from the field.
Ozzy D, thank you for the super chat. Shout out to me, I guess. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. We appreciate that.
Ozzy D with the $1.99 super chat. Win or lose, Weeboo's shout out, Natty Tim.
Cooper can do everything. He does everything. He is there is nothing he can't do. Now, he's not going to do everything at all the time, every second, constantly. That's something he's going to grow into, because right now you do see that he's still picking his spots. But just to list a few of the things Cooper Flagg can do. He could run, transition, and make bounce passes, like kick ahead, forward, bounce passes, right on time, right on target. He can throw alley-oops. He can be a rim deterrent in the fast break. There was a moment where I didn't clock the Raptor who it was. It was one of their guards. Maybe it was Ochai Agbaji or Emmanuel Quickly. But it was a one-on-one with Cooper at the rim and a chance to challenge him. It wasn't even an attempt. This was not Brandon Ingram trying to challenge Derek Lively at the start of the game. There was not even an attempt to do that. I think Cooper has looked awesome stepping into threes of every type. We'll see how consistent of a three-point shooter he's going to be. But I was really curious, can he be somebody who shoots pull-up threes? He's going to be confident when players go under the screen against him. And he just stepped into one and drained it. That's something that I really liked. And it's just all over the court. You see him rebound, you see him hustle, you see him pass, you see him defend. And, and then the best move of the night.
Mm-hmm.
It reminded me of Luka in the sense that it took him about 3-4 moves to get to where he wanted to go. But it's where he finally gets to about the dunker spot and then kind of swims through pivots after a pump fake, takes that extra step. Kyrie loves that. It's the step through move that you see Kyrie do it. You see a lot of people do it. He steps through and he finishes the and one. Like I said, a few different moves to get where you want. You don't want to be doing that every single time unless you're actually Luka, I guess. But it's awesome that he's already showing counters to counters to counters, and that this is not somebody who just needs a straight line. This is something that he can keep doing consistently with verve, with emphasis.
Cooper Flagg starting to realize that he could play in this league, and the confidence continuing to grow in his first 3 games. You saw that especially in the third quarter, which we'll get to some other numbers from tonight's game. We mentioned the Mavericks had 7 guys in double figures, led by Anthony Davis, who had those 25 points. Obviously, the Mavericks, who had a turnover problem in the last game, they did finish the game with 20 turnovers, but the first half where they had 12, that pivotal third quarter where they turned it around, only had 1 turnover in that third quarter, really protected the basketball and started to get things going. You look at some of the other numbers from Toronto's side. They shot 49% from the field, 39% from 3, had 43 rebounds in this game. They were led offensively tonight by Scotty Barnes, who wound up with 33 points, going 13 of 24 from the field. Brandon Ingram had 22 points in the losing effort for a team in Toronto that came into tonight averaging 127 points per game. I was a little concerned that the Mavericks would have to try to keep up in a track meet with this Raptors squad. They were able to do so in a big way, dropping a $139, scoring over at least 32 points in each of the 4 quarters in this game, including 39 in that decisive third quarter as well. So the Mavericks offense, who dominated in the paint, 70 of their 139 points coming in the painted area, something that they improved upon. And more importantly, we talked about it during the pregame show, the bench had to come up big and show up, and they did exactly that as they came into this game, a minus 28 in the bench point department. They flipped that around tonight. They were a plus 21 with their guys out the bench, outscoring Toronto's bench 61-40. Shout out to Max Christie, who had himself a hell of a basketball game. I thought was able to knock down some open shots, going 5 of 8 from the field, 3 of 5 from downtown. He had 17 points. It was a plus 17 in what was the 26 minutes that he played in. Max Christie had himself a really nice game.
Should he be starting?
There's going to be a conversation. I know some Mavs fans are already looking at the conversation of starting Max Christie. I think we need to see a little bit more in terms of consistency. But one thing that he did do tonight and do fairly well, which is knock down corner threes when they were wide open opportunities. He had a nice dunk in transition off of a pass from Cooper Flagg. But Max Christie played well tonight in the opportunities, part of that bench mob that really got things going for the Dallas Mavericks tonight.
Yeah, efficiency-wise, this was actually one of Clay's better games. Clay has not been good to start the year. And just in terms of the baseline that Max Christie is going to bring you, Max Christie is going to shoot the shots he should shoot for the most part. I don't want him passing up corner threes to go try to dribble. That's not his game. He has not proven that's part of his game. It doesn't seem likely it's going to be part of his game. But I like his off-ball offense, and I like the fact that he is increasingly reliable as a spot-up shooter. Dallas doesn't have a lot of players like that in the roster. You know, like in the entire PJ, Najee, these are guys, Cooper, these are all guys whose preference is to use the threat of the spot-up three to the extent that defenses even respect it. With someone like Najee, defenses don't really respect it. Defenses respect it with Max. He should not be using that to leverage to go try to get drives off. For the most part, that doesn't really seem like his game. And then defensively, if you're comparing him and Clay, it's clearly Max who is a higher level. I still don't, Max is not a splashy defender. He's certainly not ever going to be like an all NBA or like an all defense type guy. But yeah, you're seeing reasons. You're seeing the reasoning why he should be the starter, why he would fit better into the starting lineup. Here's the thing, though. Daniel Gafford might be back tomorrow.
Hopefully, because they could use him in that front court. Of course,
I know we got 3 minutes, and we got to do D-Lo next segment, I'm sure.
Yeah,
a lot of D-Lo. But Dallas, Jason Kidd, has not been playing double bigs. In fact, I really don't like that Dallas's third or fourth best player, Derek Lively, is kind of getting shafted minutes-wise. He only played 21 tonight. Anthony Davis played 35. Derek Lively is one of your best players. And right now, Jason Kidd is not playing two center lineups. He's just not doing it. They start the first and the third quarter. That's the only time you see it. It was even less today. They didn't even have a second together outside of those two starting lineup stints. Coming into this game, I had the stat somewhere. I pulled it for this, and now I can't find it.
Oh, no.
19 of the first 96 minutes have been Lively and Anthony Davis together. 19 of 96. When Daniel Gafford gets back, what are you going to do about that? Because I don't think that Anthony Davis and Derek Lively have looked amazing together, and I'm not super optimistic that Daniel Gafford and Anthony Davis is going to look better. What has looked decent at times, and Dallas obviously looked pretty bad for 4 straight quarters. So maybe you just throw all that out and you say it doesn't matter who was bad because all the lineups were bad. But it does stand, I just do want to point this out, that Jason Kidd, it seems, because, just by the minutes totals that he's giving Derek Lively, not the fact that Anthony Davis, of course, is going to have to play center, foul trouble for Derek Lively in the first game. Maybe they would have gone to a little bit more. But there's just not been a lot of them playing together, and Daniel Gafford may be back as soon as tomorrow. So I'm really curious what happens there. When we talk about Max Christie coming into the starting lineup for Clay, is maybe it needs to be D'Lo, but you've also got another center who's going to be taking up a lot of lineups. Anthony Davis is going to be pushed down to the 4 for a lot of these lineups. There's going to be a little bit fewer minutes to go around for Dallas.
We've got plenty more coming up here on the DLLS Mavs postgame show, including what was the turning point of tonight's game, a special third quarter from Cooper Flagg, D'Angelo Russell getting into the act in a big way, plus Derek Lively's defense in that third quarter was massive. Plus, a little bit later on in our show, we'll be joined by our DLLS Mavs beat writer Harrod Jr. live from the American Airlines Center, plus our national NBA insider Marc Stein as well. Plenty more coming up next on the DLLS Mavs postgame show. But first, it's game time here on the DLLS Mavs postgame show. If you love going to football games, baseball games, concerts, sporting events, or even seeing your favorite NBA team in the Dallas Mavericks, you got to do it with Game Time. With Game Time, it gives you the advantage to be able to unlock amazing tickets and experiences in just a few taps. They got panoramic seat views so you can know exactly where you want to sit before you pick out your ticket. No hidden fees, so by the time you get to checkout, you're not surprised by the amount that you're going to be paying when you get to checkout as well. They've got the lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference, and your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry today. So if you want to take the guesswork out of buying your NBA tickets, make sure you download the Game Time app. Use code DLLS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code DLLS for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today. We're also brought to you by Own Well. I'm a homeowner. I don't like it when I get that dreaded tax bill in the mail, and Own Well can help you take care of it with just a few clicks. When that property tax bill hits your mailbox, it'll hurt knowing you could have saved money using Own Well. With Own Well, 86% of Own Well's customers get their assessed values reduced and save on their property taxes, so you can put property tax money back in your pocket in just minutes. Own Well also delivers top results with an average savings of over $1,100. That's some serious scratches. You get ready for the holiday season using a combination of proprietary technology and local expertise to reduce your property taxes. Hundreds of thousands of happy customers and 5-star reviews. So stop paying and start saving with Own Well. Sign up in 3 minutes at ownwell.com/Texas. That's OWNWELL.com/Texas to start saving on your property taxes today with Own Well. Appreciate you all joining us here on the DLLS Mavs postgame show as the Mavericks get their first win of the season as they defeat the Toronto Raptors. What was 139-129, 7 guys in double figures led by Anthony Davis with his 25 points. D'Angelo Russell with his best game in a Dallas Mavericks uniform, 24 points, was a plus 26 in the 29 minutes that he played. Cooper Flagg was also special as well. That gets us to our turning point, Tim Cato, of tonight's game, because the Mavericks, who were in a very competitive game with the Toronto Raptors, who were looking for their first win on their first back-to-back as well. They'll be on the road against San Antonio tomorrow night, as the Mavericks will take on the Oklahoma City Thunder tomorrow night at the AAC. A lot of lead changes in this game. Competitive first half. The Mavericks are actually down 66-64 going into halftime. And then all of a sudden, with the Mavericks down, they were able to be down. They were down 85-82 with 6 minutes left. So halfway through the third quarter, down by 3, 85-82. But all of a sudden, Tim, the rookie out of Duke started to take over, and the Mavericks go on a 13-0 run to take what would be a 3-point lead, or a 10-point lead, excuse me, at 95-85 with 3 minutes left. Cooper Flagg got things going, scoring or assisting on 9 of the 13 points in that run, including what was that poster finish on Sandro Mamakashvili, and really got the crowd electrified. But to me, it was the defense that got things going, holding the Raptors to just 25 points in that third quarter.
Yeah, just 25.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, at this rate, that's great.
Yeah.
That is a huge improvement from where Dallas had been. Yeah, that was a big run. That like I said, I mean, that dunk, that dunk from Cooper, that was the first moment that it has been calamity in the American Airlines Center in the first 3 games of the season. It's the first moment where it wasn't just excitement for Cooper, but it was realization that Cooper is here and that he is awesome, that he is exciting. He is somebody that they're going to be cheering for a long time going into the future. So that absolutely stood out. That was a lot of fun. Just to witness, just to see that Dallas was capable of it. Toronto is kind of in the same tier out in the East as Washington, and we've seen the floor of this team. We've seen that they are not just objectively better than teams like Washington and Toronto, but it was good to see them pull away a little bit. Even as they started doing that, I was wondering, is this going to be, even if they win, is this going to be a game where Toronto sticks around and, it's tight coming into the fourth quarter? No, about halfway through the fourth quarter, it was pretty decisively won, and it was that stretch that Dallas pulled away. Now, second night of a back-to-back tomorrow. Hopefully everybody playing. I assume everybody playing. Maybe even Daniel Gafford back in the mix. We'll see about that. it would be very interesting to see if this team has a little bit more of a ceiling than what we've seen, because right now we've seen a pretty bad floor.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like that 0-2 start showed that this team is not better than, and maybe they just need to change things around. We can talk D'Lo, maybe, but we've seen that they're not necessarily better than like the mid to low tier of the Eastern Conference, which is about as low as you can get when you're talking about tiers in the NBA. It is as low as you can get. But yeah, we'll see what happens against OKC, because if there is maybe a little bit more juice, a little bit more something for Dallas to show, I'm not super confident, but I've been yapping too long.
No,
I'm out of practice. I'm trying to remember what to do with my hands.
No, you're doing just fine. The Mavericks saw a great performance from D'Angelo Russell, who at times struggled in the first half with some turnovers. At one point in that second quarter was 1 of 6, but made a couple baskets at the end of that second quarter to kind of get things going for him. And then by the time you look at that third quarter that he played nearly 6 minutes with 2 of 2 from the field, was a plus 15, had 4 points, but controlling and running the offense, helping the Mavs be able to get organized offensively, and more importantly, not only turning up the defensive pressure, but getting out in transition and making some things happen. In fact, in that decisive third quarter, the Mavericks bench outscored the Toronto bench 16-0, and most importantly, something that the Mavericks want to do more and more this season is to get out and run when they have the opportunities to. 11 fast break points to none in that third quarter, and you saw the Mavericks start to pick up the pace, pushing the ball off misses, and really put pressure on Toronto in the transition game. And that a lot of that was able to get started, not just from the defensive end, but D'Angelo Russell, Cooper Flagg making some plays as well. He had a nice pass to Max Christie for a dunk in transition that third quarter. But D'Angelo settling in as the game went on, helping to organize and help control the offense. This is one of the reasons why I thought if you were going to bring in D'Angelo Russell to be able to help organize, he's competent enough, we've seen throughout his career, to be able to put games together like this. This should go a long way in terms of the confidence boost for D'Angelo Russell, especially after the struggle in the first couple of games for him.
I mean,
hopefully
he's a 10-year vet, something like that. I'm not too worried about his confidence. I'm a little bit worried, I guess, that he has never in his career scaled down to coming off the bench very well. Like that is a little bit of a concern, but I don't think that D'Angelo Russell should be someone who has ever, in the many years of watching him,
sure,
he has always been perhaps too confident of a player. I think that's probably more of a criticism, but certainly about, this is a good performance to get back online. Coming into this game, D'Lo was the team's best net rating guy, which doesn't say much. For one, it's 2 games. For 2, it just means they got beat a little bit less worse when he was on the court as opposed to everybody else. But it's worth noting that even in very small minutes, Dallas wasn't quite getting hammered in those first 2 games. And then he's going to be their net rating leader after tonight, plus 26. Not everybody on this team was even positive in their minutes. Klay Thompson was not. Anthony Davis was not. Max Christie was not. D'Lo, for as much as single game plus minus matters, who's big old plus 26. Sorry, Max Christie was. I looked at it wrong. It does help a little bit. You're looking at the offense, and clearly they were getting in and out of sets a little bit. D'Lo just gets to different places on the court a little bit quicker, a little bit more decisively than some of these guys. And I don't, love what I've seen about him as a driver in terms of like, this is a foundational base for an offense. Like, just hand over the keys to D'Angelo Russell, and all of a sudden this offense, all their problems are fixed. But having a guard who drives into the lane does help. It does matter. Yeah. They haven't had that for 2 games, pretty much. They've had, I can count on one hand in the first 2 games how many times I saw a guy take a couple dribbles and then fire a pass to the corner. I saw Cooper do it twice. I think I saw Max maybe do it once, or Najee. Outside of that, there just haven't been a lot of examples. And D'Lo provided a little bit more energy in that sense. I'm not whatsoever confident that if Dallas throws D'Angelo Russell into the starting lineup against the Oklahoma City Thunder, that their offense is just up and away. It's all fixed.
True.
Don't have a lot of confidence in that, but this was a good performance from D'Angelo Russell. I do really wonder why, there was just a complete absence of trusting him. And I do expect that we're going to see more minutes from him going forward, even if I'm not sure we're done with the whole analysis of what does Jason Kidd really think about D'Angelo Russell. I don't think that storyline's done or over. I don't think his minutes and the consistency of his minutes, I don't think that's something that just from here on out we're going to see 29 minutes like Russell got tonight. But I do think that we should see more than what we had seen from Dallas, from Jason Kidd in the first 2 games.
And he needed a game like this. We've talked about the lack of consistent point guard play, the lack of point guard play, period, for this team, because the idea of having Cooper Flagg running your offense isn't something that I think a lot of folks are still on board with. But at the same time, there were some really good examples in that third quarter of Cooper Flagg being able to make some plays. You saw the 2 passes that he had, both to Anthony Davis and Derek Lively for dunks, especially off of the pick and roll, the lob to AD for the dunk there. Another nice read from Cooper to Lively for a dunk as well, making a really nice pass to Max Christie for a dunk in the fast break as well. You could tell he's getting a little bit more comfortable handling the basketball. We have lauded the idea of his maturity as an 18-year-old and allowing the game to come to him. I thought the third quarter was a really good example of allowing the game to not only come to him, but making the plays to not only make his teammates better, but picking his spots to get aggressive and looking for his own shot, whether it be getting downhill to get to the rim, being able to make some outside shots as well. I said going into this regular season, the one person I'm not necessarily worried about is Cooper Flagg. The question would be, would he be put in the best position to succeed night in and night out, given the talent on this team? But as I said a little bit earlier in the show, my man is quickly realizing that he can play and play with the guys in this league. We saw what he did 15 months ago when he was playing against the senior team of Team USA and the confidence that he had there. Tonight, he took another step with that with his first 20-point game, but really asserted himself in a number of different areas to be able to give the Mavericks the boost that they needed to really start to put things over the top in that third quarter. So to me, that was probably my favorite part of watching tonight's game is Cooper Flagg taking the initiative, but also pulling back when he needed to make sure that he was getting his guys involved, but also picking his spots aggressively on the offensive end to really give the Mavericks a boost in that department there.
This was also a game where Dallas was bigger than the Raptors. They were just objectively pretty much every position, at least a little bit bigger, certainly players who play bigger. Anthony Davis was not used as a offensive hub.
No, he was not
used as the creator. He was increasingly the finisher. There wasn't, here and there, he got post-ups, but he was certainly not, running inverted pick and rolls. He was, I don't think, a single time dribbled the ball up the court as a creator. And when he did get touches, when he did get post touches, it wasn't high post touches. It wasn't 22 feet away. They tried to get him starting closer to like 16 feet and in. He looked better there. He finished a lot around the basket. He had a couple nice drives, on the baseline. And then, like I said, he was just bigger inside, and that is something that, when you have somebody, in this case, often D'Lo, driving to the rim, if you still have, if it's a big driving to the rim and you still got a big on him or a big in the vicinity, there's still stuff that can muck it up. If you got a small driving in there, that's only bringing another small defender into the paint. And all of a sudden that backside rotation or, where Anthony Davis guy comes over to contest, even if they execute kind of like not a peel switch, but like, basically an X out where, the guard trailing the play is crashing down. He's not going to be able to contest AD at the rim. He's not going to be able to contest Derek Lively. It does just matter sometimes that you have guards getting into the paint. But yeah, Dallas was bigger. I thought they looked way bigger on the offensive end. Defensively, not so much. This defensively is still not.
I mean, they still gave up a $129.
Yeah.
They were able to offensively be extremely efficient, but they still gave up a $129 to the Toronto Raptors. So again, coming into this game,
118 offensive rating for Toronto.
Yeah, they were averaging 127 points coming into
far
tonight.
Better than what it was past couple good, the first 2 games, but
And Toronto's proven offensively that they can score in this league so far this year. But the Mavericks did win on the rebounding department tonight, out-rebounding the Toronto Raptors 49-43, and really was able to clean up on the defensive glass with 37 defensive rebounds. Anthony Davis already now with his third straight double-double to open up the year with 25 points and 10 rebounds in this game to go along with 3 steals and 2 blocks, and an efficient 11-14 from the field, so doing a little bit of everything for this Mavericks team. Let's take our next break here on the DLLS Mavs postgame show. When we come back, we will welcome in our DLLS Mavs beat writer Ron Harrod Jr. live from the American Airlines Center to get his thoughts, including this one about D'Angelo Russell and what he believes Cooper Flagg's superpower is. All that and more coming up next. But first, I want you to become part of our DLLS Sports family. The easiest way that you can do that right now is to subscribe to DLLS Sports and join the over 34,500 subscribers, part of our family right now. Or you can scan that QR code that you can see that you're watching right now live here on our postgame show, or go to alldlls.com. Click that Die Hard tab and become a Die Hard member, where you get 20% off our events, access to our member-only Discord. You also get the ability to access all of our tremendous content from all of our writers, including National Tim Alert, our guy Tim Cato, who's covering everything across the association.
Winners and losers coming tomorrow. At some point, yeah.
Okay, for the
first week of the NBA season. So it's everybody, all teams, but there'll be some Mavericks in there. Don't worry.
So spectacular performances in the first week of the association. The NBA ought to
I'll give you. I'll actually tell you spoilers. But one of the winners, us. We've got some good ball.
Okay,
we've had some good ball be played this first week.
Amazing ball to start off here on the show, or in the season so far, for sure. You can get the stylings of Clarence E. Hill Jr. and Ali Jawad covering your Dallas Cowboys, who unfortunately collected a beat 'em down at the hands of the Denver Broncos. Jeff Wilson covering your Texas Rangers, Sam Nestler, Sean Shapiro covering your Dallas Stars, and Ron Harrod Jr. covering your Dallas Mavericks. And you get 20% off our events, and you get a free t-shirt. And we've got some new merch right now when it comes to the Dallas Stars as well, who got a big win tonight on the road, defeating Nashville 3-2. So make sure you check out all the tremendous benefits, and you get your physical Die Hard card as well, made of titanium, vibranium, and gold. Very heavy, but very powerful, to show off your membership here at DLLS Sports. Again, it's alldlls.com to become a Die Hard member here today. Let's continue here on our post-game show. Mavericks take out Toronto 139-129, get their first win of the season to avoid their first 0-3 start since 2017. They get ready to welcome in the reigning NBA champions, the Oklahoma City Thunder, tomorrow on the second night of a back-to-back, as they look to even up their homestand at 2-2 before they finish it up on Wednesday against Rick Carlisle and the Indiana Pacers. Our pregame show will begin tomorrow at 6:45 p.m. right here on DLLS Sports. But right now, let's go out to the American Airlines Center and welcome in our DLLS Mavs beat writer. He knows sports. He is Ron Harrod Jr. Ron, what's going on? How are we?
Good. The Mavericks win a game. Let's go.
There you go, Ron.
They won a game. Ron's first win. Ron's first win to cover as part of our family here at DLLS.
We thought it was you.
or Bobby.
I was the bad luck. I'm sorry, Mavs fans.
We thought it was Ron. Now we have found out it's Bobby.
It's Bobby. It's actually Bobby.
Okay.
So Ron, I am very sorry for casting allegations your direction that were completely unfounded. And quite frankly, I'm embarrassed to have ever even considered that. Of course it was Bobby.
I appreciate that.
It's always Bobby.
Right, it's always Bobby.
Yeah.
Corporate Bobby.
That's our corporate Bobby. That's right. Mavericks get a 10-point win. Caleb Martin, thanks to his final dunk at the end. By the way, real quick, did any of the Raptors take exception to that? Was there a little meeting of the minds at half court after that, or was everything copacetic after the game? Because I thought, and maybe I could be mistaken, I thought there was a little meeting of the minds at half court based off of Caleb Martin's final dunk there.
To be fair, I was in the media room by the time that final dunk was attempted. So it didn't seem like it transferred to the media room where no one was kind of talking about it, neither the coach nor D'Lo brought it up. So
okay.
Oh, there goes Bobby.
Hey, there's Bobby. There he is. They won. That's right, Bobby. They won. That means you can't do the show tomorrow. No, I'm just joking. We'll be glad to have you back tomorrow. You mentioned D'Angelo Russell. We'll get to what he had to say about Cooper Flagg here in just a moment. But D'Lo tonight was effective in his time on the floor. He was a plus 26 in the 29 minutes that he had, 24 points. Yes, I know he was 8 of 18 from the field, but helped run and organize the offense, but more importantly, provided some scoring, especially when the Mavericks needed it, and was able to get the win tonight.
But, I mean, D'Lo was hooping. Let's be honest here. D'Lo started slow, but the energy, the confidence, he was dancing. He was emoting with the ice in his veins. That energy is something that the Dallas Mavericks needed. Even when he was, missing layups and kind of struggling a little bit in the beginning on the scoring, I think just him being confident enough to keep taking shots, to keep in the pick and roll, to help Cooper Flagg get off ball, really helped this team to victory. In post game, he was ice cold, as he would say. His personality was still pretty chill. He answered a bunch of questions. He had fun. But D'Lo, I think today had a lot of fun on the court. I could tell just by his dancing and his jumping and all those kind of things.
Mavericks wanted to use him as a quote-unquote basketball player, and that basketball player in the second half, 14 minutes, 5 of 7 from the field, 11 points, was a plus 25, had 2 assists, and most importantly, Ron, 0 turnovers for the Mavericks in that second half, where they saw Anthony Davis with 15 points. Cooper Flagg absolutely electrified the crowd with that poster in transition on Sandro Mamakhalashvili, and really was the first kind of signature moment, if you will, for the rookie out of Duke. What was the atmosphere like, and what did D'Lo have to say about Cooper Flagg and his performance tonight?
Well, first, shout out you getting that name right. I mean, he had to be practicing that. There's just no way.
Shout out to Marc Stein. That's Marc Stein's favorite name in the NBA, and I've heard him say it 1,000 times, so I figured I'd give it a shot as an ode to Marc Stein, and I feel like I've nailed it a couple of times, so there we go.
For sure. Shout out Marc, because I'm not even sure if that could fit in a headline. But besides that point, so D'Angelo Russell, he talked about Cooper Flagg. He kind of brought up and used the word superpower. He said, this is Cooper Flagg's superpower. He kind of said like him to put up Kevin Durant numbers, but he's relentless. Just kind of talked about Cooper Flagg's energy, all the stuff he can do on the court. And I think we saw that in the third quarter. Just every day at a high level, he rebounded well, he passed well, he scored well, he cut to the rim well, he hit a block. I think that's kind of his superpower, that he's kind of good at everything that basketball players can do. And we saw that in that third quarter. And it seems like his teammates, with D'Lo saying that and Max Christie talking about him at practice yesterday, it just seems like his teammates are behind him.
Man, so his superpower is that he has no superpowers. It's just everything.
He's just good at everything.
Superman.
Yeah,
just like Superman, it's fast, he's strong, he can do a little bit of everything.
And shout out to all of you who have just joined us from watching the DLLS Stars postgame show as the Stars get a 3-2 win over the Nashville Predators. Appreciate all of you hanging out with us here on the DLLS Mavs postgame show after the Mavericks get a 139-129 win. Make sure you like the video while you're here, as well as we're joined by our DLLS Mavs beat writer Harrod Jr. from the American Airlines Center. What else stood out to you, not just from the game, but also what Jason Kidd had to say in his post-game remarks?
Yeah, well, one, I wanted to see if he would bite on the question. So I said, was this Anthony Davis's best game as a Dallas Maverick? So he stood, he sat for a second, and he said, I'll get back to you. So I don't know if I feel validated by the answer, but I do think at least he thought about that hard. I do feel good about that. But overall, I think Kidd just talked about the offense looked better. They cut the turnovers down, and the bench did well. Like Najee Marshall, we talked about pregame. We were kind of looking for him to have a big game, and the knife finally showed up, got to the lane, and kind of made that impact off the bench. And Jason Kidd brought up again that Max Christie has been one of the team's best players this season. He said they're actually trying to get him to shoot more. They say trying to get him to be more aggressive. And I saw tonight, he pump faked a couple of threes and kind of got to his spot and got to the lane. Max Christie has just been efficient all year. At this point, we can probably say, just based on the statistics, he's been his team's best floor spacer. I understand that Klay Thompson is on the team, and he even had a bounce back game today. But Max Christie's been the team's best shooter this season.
And he was able to play well, especially when you look at what he did from three, going 3 of 5 from downtown tonight in what was a 17-point effort for him in the 26 minutes that he played. 7 guys in double figures. We talked about it during the pregame show as well. You started to mention a little bit with the bench outscoring Toronto 61-40 in the bench department tonight after being a negative 28 in the first couple of games. A balanced attack in a number of areas for this team that got contributions from a number of guys. PJ Washington with another 17 points in this game. Cooper Flagg with his first career 20-point game as well. And we mentioned, Najee Marshall, a perfect 4-4, was a +8 with the 12 points that he had. The ball was moving. They had 32 assists on 50 made field goals. That's the kind of offense I think the Mavericks are looking for, getting out in transition, sharing the basketball, and a number of guys touching it before taking the shots that they're looking for.
And the Mavericks survived a Scotty Barnes heater. I mean, Scotty Barnes was on one. He kind of struggled a little bit in that third quarter, and really it's kind of how the Mavs really pulled away. But Scotty Barnes was having a really strong game, and it felt almost like the same thing happening again. In the first game, we saw Wemby on a heater. The second game, Keyshawn George on the heater. And in this game, Scotty Barnes. So I'm like, okay, this is the same theme in every game. But this time, they were able to win the game and kind of survive that. And that's something Jason Kidd talked about in the previous 2 press conferences, was like, hey, there's going to be a good player on every team. We're going to have to survive good players scoring a lot of points. You can't lose every game just because we're saying, hey, this person scored 30 points. So even though Scotty Barnes had a good game, they still were able to pull out the win.
No rest for the weary, because they welcome in tomorrow night on the second night of a back-to-back the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are, of course, the reigning NBA champions. As we look forward to that game tomorrow, your thoughts on what the Mavericks can take from tonight's game and carry into tomorrow against the Thunder?
Well, it seems like the Mavs actually are pretty confident when they play Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City is probably the best team in the NBA, but again, sometimes it's just matchups, and sometimes it's your confidence level. Now, a lot of players are new on this Mavericks team, going, with their rivalry kind of with Oklahoma City. A lot of those players are gone. But on that note, Oklahoma City is going to press the ball a lot. They're going to try to create a lot of turnovers. So D'Angelo Russell kind of feeling good today, having a good game. I think he's going to be very key tomorrow. They're going to have to play him, because if they don't, it's going to probably be a lot of turnovers. That team is going to force a ton with Casey Wallace, a Dallas area native, and a bunch of other guys on that team.
And we look forward to that, as the Mavericks will tip off at 7:30 p.m. At the American Airlines Center when they welcome in the Thunder to get started. Hopefully we'll have the PJ Oklahoma come through once again. He's had a strong start this season. Right?
Yeah, three wins and 4 matchups and 4 meetings last season. All of them were before the AD trade. All of them were with Kyrie, I believe. I don't think he missed any of them. He might have missed one, if I'm remembering right. I know Luka missed one early on. So yeah, three of 4, but this is very, very new look. Mavericks. Yeah.
And the Thunder, they will be on the first night of a back-to-back as they take on Dallas on Monday before returning home to take on the Sacramento Kings on Tuesday. The Mavericks will be on the second night of their back-to-back, of course, after their win tonight over Toronto before they welcome in OKC tomorrow night. Final observations for you before we let you go on this Sunday evening.
Jason Kidd, a lot of Mavs fans kind of laughed when Jason Kidd said he thought that the offense, was looking better and it was improving. And then the team kind of backed up Jason Kidd to me, kind of on his words pregame. The offense did look a lot better today. They did pass the ball a lot better. Was it perfect? No. But at the end of the day, when your coach kind of shows that he has confidence in you, and then you go out and you back that up, that shows that this team does believe and does play for Jason Kidd.
And they did so in a big way tonight, getting their first win of the 25-26 campaign. We'll see if they can make it 2 in a row when they take on OKC tomorrow. He knows sports. He is Ron Harrod Jr. He's our DLLS Mavs beat writer. Ron, we appreciate the time and the perspective. Get some rest, because we got to do it again tomorrow on the second night of back-to-back. Appreciate the time, man. Thank you.
See ya. All right, bye.
Mavericks win 139-129. Sports guy T.O. says, lucky for KG, the Mavs and Stars pulled him out of the Cowboys ditch. Yeah, because the Cowboys got belt put to ass earlier today by the Denver Broncos. And to make matters worse, Micah Parsons has a sack as the Packers are throttling the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, but I started RJ Harvey in my main fantasy football
Did you
league.
really?
Yeah.
Nobody wants to hear about your fantasy team.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to hear about your fantasy team.
But it is pretty funny.
Especially when it means that the Broncos were.
He's been sitting on my bench all year. It's a handcuff that didn't really work out, but I was like, I didn't really have a better option, and I'm like, it is the Cowboys defense. I was not expecting. I wasn't expecting 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, jeez.
that I feel like I got away with. I feel like I stole and got away with something.
You did,
getting 3 touchdowns from a backup, but I'll take it. I was just looking for like 8 PPR points. Dude.
My Cowboy sadness continues. Appreciate our guy Ron joining us live from the American Airlines Center. Yeah, Sports Guy T.O. No one cares about Cato's fantasy team. You're right. Let's check.
Nobody cares about anybody's fantasy team. To be fair,
touche.
But I have a microphone, so I get to talk about whatever I want. They let me back in here. They let me back in the studio.
We did let him back in.
Yeah.
The code almost didn't work for him, but he got his way in, Jamal Adams. Let's take our final break here on the DLLS Mavs postgame show. When we come back, we welcome in our national NBA insider, Marc Stein. His thoughts and observations on tonight's game and the latest from his notebook, including this particular note on the Mavs GM and current owner. We'll talk about it next. But here at DLLS Sports, we want you to join us. One of the easiest ways you can do that is to like, comment, and subscribe, and download our podcast wherever you get your podcast for free. Search DLLS Mavs, give it a 5-star rating, write a review for it while you're there. Also, we've got a free newsletter that our guy Ali Jawad puts together for you every single day, letting you know the happenings through the lens of DFW Sports through DLLS Sports, whether it's your Cowboys, Stars, Mavericks, or Rangers, or your Dallas Wings, where they have a brand new head coach for the 2026 season once it does start, if there's hopefully not a lockdown. But again, you can go to alldlls.com to become a diehard member as well to get all of our access to everything. Including we got the merch, we got the t-shirts we can throw up there for the folks.
That's on me. I don't have the Star shirt. Here, look at this Page rookie shirt.
There we go. Shout out to the Paige. Speaking of Paige Beckers, the new roadie shirt that we've got celebrating Paige Beckers and her Rookie of the Year win, second team All W as well, becoming a mega star at LA Knight in the DFW. So shout out to Paige Beckers. You can go to store.allcitynetwork.com to check out all of our fabulous merchandise that we have available to you, and you get a free t-shirt when you become a diehard member as well. So again, make sure you go to alldlls.com to become a diehard member. Subscribe to our daily newsletter as well, so make sure you're caught up on everything when it comes to here at DLLS Sports and across DFW Sports as well. Let's finish up here on our show this evening. We appreciate all of you hanging out with us, the near 400 of you watching us live on this Sunday evening after a football Sunday, but more importantly, a basketball Sunday for your Dallas Mavericks. They get a first win on their first night of their back-to-back as they take on the Oklahoma City Thunder tomorrow. Coming up here in just a moment, we'll be welcoming in our national NBA insider, Marc Stein, who is ready to join us right now here on the DLLS Mavs postgame show. You can always dial up the Stein Line at the Stein Line. Dapper Stein here on the podcast.
Marc. I didn't see you at the game today, Marc. Most games I run into Marc, but sometimes we just don't overlap. It happens.
Hold on a second.
Yeah, we're so back. The other way.
That's not good. That's not good.
There it is.
Are you broadcasting from heaven?
The
pearly gates behind you?
The Austin Korea going for the lights.
I'm broadcasting.
What are you doing? Are you sourcing information in the middle of this hit right now? Is that what you're doing?
No,
You look like you have a sheer white screen behind you.
That's right.
No, I'm in the what it is I'm in the interview room for the visiting team.
Right.
And the visiting team has its background that's now taken out of here. So instead of the Raptors background that you saw when Darko Rajakovic was speaking or any of the post-game interviews, that's gone. So it's just a plain wall behind me. I'm sorry that I don't have the beautiful studio that you guys have behind you, but it is great to see National Tim at your side.
That's right.
They let me in.
Barely.
I was surprised too.
Barely. We tried to trick him with a new code to the door, but
Why did the poor Corellis trader miss a win? Where is he?
He's attending to family events today, so he'll be back with us tomorrow. He'll be back with us tomorrow.
So 80-2 is still on the table?
80-2 is still on the table.
So is 1-81.
Oh, wow.
There are a lot of mathematical probabilities on the table right now. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, there are.
Must-win game. Friday night didn't go as planned, but this must-win game, they did win it. So I imagine chat is feeling good. I imagine chat is excited to see Tim back with us.
A lot of people have been very kind to me.
Yes, they have.
Did you call you also called this game a must-win?
Yeah, no joking whatsoever. I called Friday a must-win, and look how that turned out. So
I listen to most y'all episodes, just like
this.
I listen to
this was a must win. I mean, they had to get this one, and look, they clearly made some changes offensively. We saw a much larger role for D'Angelo Russell. We saw them work in some more traditional pick and rolls, some more small pick and rolls, and those tweaks overall led to a much better offense. And look, I mean, a win and 139 points for where this how this offense looked after the first two games. Like, don't want to make too much of it because Toronto, they've got plenty of issues too. But again, like, this was the kind of performance that this team needed. And, Cooper Flagg launched his highlight reel, and more importantly was just solid, just so solid, playing with force, looking more comfortable every single game. So I think there's a lot for the locals to go home happy with. And of course, we got to turn right around and be back here tomorrow night. You presume that's going to be a much tougher game. But like I said, what we saw tonight is what absolutely had to happen.
As they move to 1-2 on the season and 1-2 on their season-long 5-game homestand. Interesting number here. Anthony Davis, dominant tonight, 11 of 14 from the field. 12 of his 14 attempts were in the paint, 9 of those in the restricted area. That's where I want my man to live at, in the paint, in the restricted area. The mid-range jump shots didn't necessarily need it, but this type of Anthony Davis, and he's had great games against the Toronto Raptors. In fact, he had a damn near quadruple-double the last time he played against Toronto in the second to last game of last year. But 25-10, 3 assists, 2 blocks, 3 steals. My man shot nearly 80% from the field. A very good performance from Anthony Davis tonight as he continues to work himself into shape coming back off of that eye surgery.
I mean, the offense functioning better certainly benefited him. We saw a lot more of Derek Lively as that big man hub at the top when he was out there. Derek Lively playing only 21 minutes, but when D-Live was out there, he was really doing the bulk of the elbow work and, made a lot of good decisions. I thought, his stat line doesn't jump off the page, but I thought D-Live was excellent tonight. But yeah, I mean, this was offensively a very strong Anthony Davis performance. The Raptors, outside of Jakob Poeltl, are not a big team, and I think he relished the opportunities that presented themselves against a Raptors team that, I mean,
undersized to say the least.
Undersized to say the least, and I thought it was going to be a much tougher matchup because they are playing fast too. Like, obviously tomorrow night is the nightmare on this 5-game homestand, dealing with the defending champions on the second night of a back-to-back. But Toronto's playing a lot faster. Indy is just so banged up. I mean, Indy lost Obi Toppin tonight. They lost Benedict Mathurin last night, or was it last night? I mean, it's just the Pacers. The Pacers have no Halliburton, no TJ McConnell, no Mathurin, and now they've lost Obi Toppin on top of it. So that's another must win because you'd like at least a 2-3 homestand, even though that sounds terrible when you say it out loud. But compared to how this thing felt after 0-2. 2-3 sounds a lot better than I think where everyone's heads were at after the Wizards loss. But a lot of good performances tonight. Caleb Martin, again, not a stat line that jumps off the page, but I thought he brought a lot of good energy despite having to deal with foul trouble that was helpful in the second half. So
real quick, at the end of the game, Caleb Martin had the dunk to give it a 10-point margin. And correct me if I'm wrong, was there any meeting of the minds at half court? Was there any extracurricular after?
You know what? I have to say there did seem to be something going on, but by the time the masses around me kind of vacated and I could get a good look at what was happening, everything looked fine and pleasant and calm to me. So I personally did not see any dismay or distress over that. And so I really can't say if there was anything that you would classify as real tension. I didn't see any.
Understood.
The one thing I wanted to say, I'm glad you brought this up about how Anthony Davis was mostly in the paint, wasn't shooting jumpers tonight. Not anti-jumper, like not wholly, but he was mostly in the paint doing center things because he was playing center. It's also why I brought up the whole thing that Derek Lively and Anthony Davis have not been playing together. Derek Lively, foul trouble in game 1, so that was a big part of it. I still think Derek Lively is the 3rd or 4th best player on this team and probably should get more minutes. But you talked about offensive changes. One of the big offensive changes is that outside of those 4 minutes, start both quarters, there was just going to be one center on the court. Just one center. And as it so happened, Anthony Davis, when he was playing the 5, looked really good at doing 5 stuff. So it does leave me with this enormous question.
Well, some of it I think too was
going to do when Daniel Gafford gets back, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and so I think some of it tonight was Mamouklashvili. That was a much better matchup for Lively than it was for AD early on, and so I think that's why we saw some of that switching to make sure that it was, Lively was the one who was chasing him around. Like I said, I think Lively didn't have the kind of game that jumps off the page statistically, 4, 7, and 4. But I thought Lively was, when he was out there, was just in all the right places. Again, it was a little bit different the way they did the more, the 5-man handoffs up near the top of the key where, Lively was involved in a lot of that. Look, they didn't really have a lot of options for lineup changes, so they made tweaks to the offense, which they knew the way the first 2 games went, there had to be some kind of significant change, and just because of the unavailable, you still have no Exum, you had no Brandon Williams tonight. We still obviously have no real timetable on when Kyrie's coming back. So they had to change some things schematically. And look, D'Angelo, did D'Angelo miss his first 8 shots?
He was 0 of 8 to 8 and 10, I believe.
I mean, so that was quite a turn. That was quite a turnaround for him. But even when he was 0 for 8, he was putting a lot of pressure on the Raptors defense and he was making things happen. And, after a really rough 2 games, he bounced back strongly. So,
maybe it was.
What's the?
Well, that first half, Russell went 3 of 11 from the field and then 5 of 7 in the second half.
I always ask this when I'm not there because I hate not being able to see chat when I'm doing these remotely. So, give me the vibe. What are our friends? What is kind of the mood in the chat room tonight?
I would say chat has been relieved and excited for Cooper. And I saw early on there were some people saying, I saw a little bit of "told you so." I saw a little bit of this is the start of something. I saw
Max Christie needs to start.
Yeah, certainly some of that. But then there's a lot of just great win. I don't think there's been no pessimism. Nobody is upset about this win or saying they still suck. Maybe they do, but nobody is out here trying to rain too hard on this win. And I think that's the right mindset. So I would say all
National
things
Tim.
considered, a lot of appreciation that Dallas was able to put one on the floor in a way that was exciting and showcased Cooper Flagg.
Well, that'll do it for us here. We appreciate you, Marc Stein, joining us here. We look forward to you joining us tomorrow during our post-game show as the Mavericks take on the Oklahoma City Thunder. Get some rest because you're going to be on the second night of a back-to-back as well. If you haven't already, go check out Marc's latest piece in his Substack. He's got some real interesting notes, especially when it comes to your Dallas Mavericks and the support that one Nico Harrison is getting from current Governor Patrick Dumont. You definitely want to check that out. In Marc's latest piece this evening. Marc, appreciate the time as always. Good to talk to you, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
We will see you tomorrow. National Tim, it's good to see you.
There you go.
I'll see you at the game tomorrow.
There you go.
I don't know why I didn't see him today. Where was he hiding?
I don't know. He's at his normal seat, Norm.
I was at both press conferences. I was up and down his favorite hallway.
Oh, of course you were.
I had to do some Raptors pregame stuff. I was in the pregame locker room for Toronto. But then I did pop out onto the court. And I looked all the way around, said hi to Matt Riccardi. I never saw Marc Stein. I would have gone over and said hello. Would have chatted it up.
Ask him tomorrow.
Yeah, thank God there's another game coming right up.
That's right. It's time for us to go here on the DLLS Mavs postgame show. Shout out to our guy Tanner, making us look good and sound good as always. Thank you, sir. Appreciate our DLLS Mavs beat writer Harrod Jr. for joining us from the AAC, as well as our national NBA insider Marc Stein for doing the same. Mavericks get it done 139-129 for their first win of the season as they take out the Toronto Raptors. Our pregame show will begin tomorrow at 6:45 p.m. right here on DLLS Sports as the Mavericks welcome in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and the Oklahoma City Thunder on the second night of a back-to-back. Appreciate our guy National Tim Cato for joining us here on our show as well. My name is Kevin Gray. We are DLLS Mavs. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 6:45 p.m. right here on DLLS Sports. Y'all be good. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.